the highest mountain, and it flows to the lowest valley. Oh, that gives me strength. Yes, it does. From day to day, it will never lose its power. You know it won't, because it reaches to the highest mountain. Oh, yes, it does. And it flows to the lowest valley. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, the blood that gives me strength from day to day. It will never lose. It will never lose. It will never lose its power. This is why we remember you. This is why we remember you. This is why we stop everything and just take a moment to say, we remember you. We will not forget what you did. We will not forget what you did. Is this clear?
I don't care what your valley is.
Come on, say it loud.
I don't care how low
Yeah,
you fall,
good preacher.
you sink.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter how bad it is, and sometimes it is bad, isn't it? Sometimes it's bad. The pain is bad. The misery is bad.
yeah,
The relationships, they're bad.
They're bad.
Sometimes the work
Yeah.
is hard.
I hear you, preacher.
Sometimes it just is.
I hear you now.
But the power of his blood,
Yeah.
don't forget what he did. Don't forget how hard it was for him to do that.
I hear you. Help you.
I think our biggest problem sometimes is that we forget the power of the blood.
Amen.
We focus on the enemy and what he's done to us.
Yeah.
We focus on what this person did and that person said and what happened way back when and how we can't get over it because it was so bad. No one's diminishing how bad it was or how bad it is.
You're talking.
But the power of the blood diminishes it.
All of
Amen.
it. Beautiful.
Jesus said he didn't want you to celebrate the fact that you have power over the enemy, that you can cast out demons. He said, don't celebrate that.
That's right. Come on.
Celebrate the fact that your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life.
That's awesome.
That's what you should celebrate
That's
about.
awesome. Amen. That's awesome.
So I put on this robe today because I want you to help me make a judgment call. Before the cock crows twice in your life, we got to make some judgments. There's a reason why things happen to us, and it's not just because we're Christians. They happen to people who aren't Christians too.
That's right.
The difference is
Come on.
you have the blood
Jesus.
that reaches, that stretches, that diminishes, that overpowers, that consumes, that blasts it out of the water. Whatever you needed to do, it is capable of doing. And it will never lose its power. You don't have to recharge, you have to plug it in. You can rely on, depend on this, not this liquid in this cup. This is symbolic. I heard about a man who is on record for saving thousands of lives because he donates his blood regularly.
Wow.
Jesus gave all his blood though, didn't he? He donated all of it. He gave all of it. All of it. So today, I want you to make some judgments. Because in your life, the word that Jesus spoke to Peter is still the same word to us today. So you are Peter today. So I'm going to call Peter to the stand. Take this chair. And I want you to prepare yourselves. I need 4 gentlemen. Particularly you, and the drummer boy. Where'd he go? Call him for me. I want you to have your Bibles and be ready. I'm going to give you the verses that I want you to read from the witness stand today. Where are you, son? We can wait. While I work out this, pull up my notes here to make sure I don't miss anything of what God gave me for you. And I intended on preaching this a week ago, but the weather kind of got in the way. It's okay. Amen. It's all right. I'm not concerned. We all made it here today.
That's right.
Is this the right one yet? So this gave me time to redo some things. So who's going to be Matthew today? You? Good. Who's going to be Mark? You? Okay, Mark. Who's going to be Luke? You going to be Luke? Fantastic. And Brother Rick, you going to be John. All right. So first, I need Matthew to come to the stand. No, I want Matthew first. I want Mark to come to the stand, please. You're Mark. Mark chapter 14, verses 66 through 72. Can you take the witness stand, please? I don't need you both yet. I don't need both witnesses. Put your hand on this book of the law. He's not ready. We need a ready witness. Come on, witness. All right. Do you intend to convey the testimony of Mark to the best of your ability? Say, I will.
I do.
I said, say, I will. See what I'm talking about? Y'all work with me now. Y'all work with me. We're going somewhere with this. Everybody, turn to Mark chapter 14. Verse 66. It's our main text for today, so we'll be referring back to that. Here's what I want you to understand. I want you to understand that persecution and temptation and tribulations, they all come to everybody.
Right.
They do. Can't be avoided. Right? But when it does happen, how are you going to stand if we keep forgetting about this? We keep forgetting what he did. We keep forgetting how powerful he is.
Yeah.
He's not just a power. He's not just a prophet or a king. He's not just a leader. He's not just a great teacher. Jesus is the Savior. He is the physician, not a practicing physician. He is the great I am, the King of all kings. That's who he is. That's who we're serving. Are we all there in Mark chapter 14? Because I'm not. Y'all went ahead of me? Now you all are going to serve as jurors, and you're going to decide the fate of Peter today. Verse 66, all the way to 72. Sir, testimony, please.
Now as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with Jesus of Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." And he went out on the porch, and a rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him again, and began to say to those who stood by, "This is one of them." But he denied it again. And a little later, those who stood by said to Peter again, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it." Then he began to curse and swear, I do not know this man of whom you speak. A second time the rooster crowed. Then Peter called to mind the word that Jesus said unto him, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. And when he thought about it, he wept.
Okay. Hold on to that for me, please. I have a couple of questions for the witness. You need some water?
Right there.
The witness is getting choked up, y'all. Because straight there from the record, we're not going to hold that against him. So going back over your testimony, Mark, according to you, Peter was first approached by just a servant girl while he was in the courtyard. So he was close to where the action was happening, right? He was comfortable in there, right? He kind of felt like he could be all right. It's where he wanted to be. Okay? So, according to your testimony, is that a strange place that he was in?
No, it's a familiar place.
It was a familiar place, okay. So, is it true that we can say that sometimes we are in a comfortable place and we feel like we can just be ourselves? Thank you, sir. Is that, you all feel comfortable around certain people? You can just let your hair down, kick your shoes off and relax? Do you have people like that? Do you have an inner circle? Anybody? Okay. So that's where he was at first. All right, and according to your testimony, he was approached by someone close to him and he denied Christ.
That is true.
That's true, okay. Second question I have for you. When he went outside, someone else recognized him. And did you say that he again denied Christ?
That is true.
So he was leaving, he was going out, minding his own business. And somebody just had something to say to him.
That is true.
Okay, so what does that remind you of? It could be for me, at home, I'm comfortable. When I go out, I have to deal with people like co-workers, is that correct?
That is true.
What about students that you go to school with? What about people like that people you deal with every day? You're still a little comfortable, but not as much as you are at home. Is that correct?
That is true.
So that's where he was. And even then, in the marketplace, he still denied Christ.
That is true.
Okay, I'm done questioning this witness. Thank you very much. Put your microphone right there. Okay, so we've established that when you're comfortable, along with your friends, your family, those things that you used to, that you like, you can kind of just be at ease. And then you get tempted to forget that you are a believer. Because your uncle said something to you, or your cousin challenged you at the family reunion, or your sister got on your last nerve. And all of a sudden you forgot what Jesus did for you, and words come up out of you that you forgot was still in there.
Amen. I tell you, it's the truth in
I'm just saying. That's the first one of the thrice Jesus prophesied and told Peter, before the cock crows twice, you're going to deny me thrice, which means 3. So that's the first one you got to watch out for, is the people you're closest to. The people that you are around all the time. Well, we don't want to establish this by one witness. I need Matthew, please. Come on, Matthew. We need another testimony, another witness. Call the witness to the stand.
Matthew.
Come on, Matthew. When you were a tax collector, you didn't move that slow. You were chasing after people. Come on, Matthew, tax collector. You got your Bible open? Let me just go ahead and tell you where you read Matthew chapter 26 and verse 75. Now, when I call on John, John is going to be John chapter 18, verses 15 through 18. And when I call on Luke, Luke will be 22, verses 54 through 62. Now, Matthew, you're supposed to be in chapter 26. Are you there? I'm not going to show you. 13 years old. In some cultures, you should know, supposed to know half the Bible by now, just about. Hold that, please. Take this book of the law, put your hand on it. What's so funny? This is a court of law, sir. If it happens again, I'll hold you and content. All right now. Do you intend to share the testimony of Matthew to the best of your ability? You're not going to add anything to it? You're not going to take anything away? You're going to read it correctly? You're not going to skip lines? What? Yes. Okay. Please take the witness stand. You can say that if you want to. Please read the testimony of Matthew, starting with verse 75 in chapter 26. Did I do that right?
Yes.
No, not verse 75. We're going to start with verse 69. Matthew 26, verse 69 through 75. Are you having trouble? I need a bailiff, please. I need a bailiff to come help him out. This is why we study the Bible on our own. That we be not ashamed. Rightly dividing. While we wait on him, I want to make sure that John is ready. John, you have chapter 18 of John, verses 15 through 18. You got that? John chapter 18, verses 15 through 18. And Luke, you have chapter 22, verses 54 through 62. Are you ready, Matthew? Please share the testimony of Matthew with us.
Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also ways with Jesus of
Come on. A little bit easier. Right there.
Gethers. Do I go to the next one?
Go ahead. Read all the way till you get to 75. All the way down to there. Okay?
But he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you are saying. And when he had gone out the gateway, another girl saw him and said, those who were there, this fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth.
Okay, can you stop for a minute? I need to question you just a little bit. You said that some other girl, so someone he didn't even know. Is that correct?
Yes.
Answer please in the microphone. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it was already the servant girl in the comfortable area that he was at, and then he went out, and some other girl just decided and called him what? What did she call him? This what?
This fellow.
This fellow. So she didn't even know his name. Oh, okay. So okay, let the jurors know that sometimes there are people that you don't even know who just want to put their words on you, who just want to start things with you. It's not even the devil. It's just people. So what happened when this girl called him, this fellow here, and what happened next? What happened next?
This fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth.
Okay. And?
But again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man.
He denied with an oath. So basically he said, I promise you I don't know.
Yes.
You can trust me when I tell you. So he actually is swearing, I'm letting you know I don't know him. No. So when I ask the jurors, just take note that the witness is saying that there are times where you want to convince people that you are not.
Yeah.
You don't want anyone to call you crazy. You don't want them to think you're in a cult. You don't want them to think you're a holy roller, or what do they call Christians nowadays? Extreme.
Yeah.
You don't want to be called any names. So you better say, oh no, I'm good. No, It's not even like that. It's not that deep. Yeah, I go to church sometimes, but don't think nothing of it. I'm still down. I can still roll with y'all. I can still go. Right? Sometimes we want to convince people. That's what the oath is for, to convince you that I mean it. I'm serious. I'm the same as you guys. Look, I dress just like y'all. I talk just like y'all. I hang out the same places y'all hang out. See? It's not like that at all. I'm not old religious. I'm not, no, not me. I'm not one of those crazy Christians. Not me. I believe there's a higher power too, just like you, but I'm not extreme.
Yeah.
You don't want people to know. You want to make sure you dress like everybody else. You could be in disguise. Undercover believer.
Yeah.
So you married and going out without your ring on. Is that what you're doing? You married to Christ, but you didn't wear your ring. That's what this means. If I wanted someone to think I wasn't married, I would take off my ring.
Yeah.
I would dress and act inappropriately, flirtatiously, rudely. If I didn't want people to know I was married, I would go to the singles bars and dance with the guys and hang out with the girls, and all the while knowing that I'm married. And some of you do the same thing when you get to work. Nobody in there knows you're a believer.
Wow.
They will be shocked to see you in church.
Wow.
They'd be shocked. You in school. What? You a Christian? You one of those? You really? You give no evidence.
Wow.
So I think you said enough already. But wait. What happened after all this went down? Was there another occasion?
And a little later,
Oh, later, it was more. Okay. Tell us what happened.
who stood by came up and said to Peter, surely you are also one of them.
And what do you do? What do you say?
For your speech betrays you.
Your speech, but also his accent. They can tell by the way he talks where he's from. Kind of like people who are in New York, you can tell what part of New York you're from based on how they talk. It's all English. Continue, sir, continue.
Then he began to curse and swear.
Excuse me. He began to what?
Curse and
Say that again in the microphone, please. We put this on the record. Say that one more time.
He began to curse.
Say it slower.
He began to curse.
One more time.
He began to curse.
Jurors, please know that to make sure that they knew that he was not a believer, a follower of Christ, he started cussing.
Wow.
I mean, because that's the first thing people don't expect from a Christian is to act a fool like that. Start talking ugly, but you're supposed to be so full of the beauty of the Lord. That's a good, if I heard somebody cussing, I wouldn't think they were a Christian. That was a pretty good cover. Nobody bothered him after that. So, thank you, witness. You may take your seat. Give me back my book of the law. Give me that. Thank you. So, the first witness helped us understand that there are, and you hold your place, I may have to re-examine you. Go on, hold your place in the Bible. If you forgot, that means you weren't paying attention. Okay. So, before we call our next witness, let's just review a little bit here, shall we? We have a witness who stated that there were people that he was in a close proximity to, he felt comfortable with inside the courtyard in a relaxed state, in a place where he could let his hair down, take his shoes off, put his hands in front of the fire and just chill. He wanted to know what was going on with Jesus. He wanted to know what they were going to do. He'd already cut off Malcolm's ear.
Wow.
Right? Jesus put it back on. Malcolm didn't even say thank you, just to know. Malchus said the name wrong. So now, he decides, oh, maybe it's not good to say it. Some of you who do the same thing, you leave your families and avoid them. You rather not talk to them about Jesus. You rather not say anything. Because you don't bother with the arguing. You don't want them to, whatever families do. So you just don't say anything. And so you go out. You go to work. You go to school. You go through your neighborhood. You go through your community. Right? You go to the gym or wherever it is that you go. And you still, nobody would know. Keep it undercover. Keep it to yourself. You act just like they do. Talk just like they do. Show no evidence. I don't mean you're supposed to be at work going, hallelujah, praise God. I'm not asking for you to put on a show. I'm asking, is this thing real to you?
I do.
Because you're going to have a time in your life where the cock is going to crow. And before the cock crows again, before that temptation comes back again, because when you miss a test the first time, we have to retake that test. Educators understand what I'm saying, right? You all educators, you teachers. If the student passes the test, they move on. But if they fail the test, they have to retake it. So when the cock crows the first time, you didn't pass that test. So the cock crowed again, you got a second chance. So let's see what happened before that second cock crow. I need the testimony of John, please. That's you in the blue. I don't know what color you're wearing. Come on, John. Everybody get there with him. John chapter 18, verses 15 through 18. See, we don't hear the differences in the testimonies. Now, Matthew didn't say anything about him cussing. Isn't that something? Matthew didn't mention that. The story gets a little heavy here. The plot thickens. The more witnesses we have, the more we can establish the story and get a setup of what really happened. So we're in John chapter 18, verses 15 through 18. Before you get started, put your hand on this book of the law, please. Do you intend to share the testimony of John to the best of your ability without adding or subtracting from it?
Here we are.
All right, where's your microphone? See, respect. I like that. Put that in the record, please. Secretary back there. All right now. Here we go. Please share the testimony of John.
15 through 18 or
15 through 18.
15. And Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. That disciple was known unto the high priest, and went in with Jesus into the palace of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door without. Then without that other disciple, which was known unto the high priest, and spake unto her that kept the door, and brought in Peter.
Okay, can you stop, please? Let me get this is a little variation of the story here. So, according to your testimony, Peter wasn't even in there at first. The other disciple was.
Correct.
Oh. And so he couldn't even get in. He wasn't even in like that. And the other disciple had to speak to the bell, the girl at the door.
Yeah, correct.
And she listened to the other disciple whose name we don't know. And they let him in then.
Correct.
So he was not going to church after all, huh?
Wow.
He was just saying he going to church. He wasn't really in. Okay, continue.
Then saith the damsel that kept the door unto Peter, Art not thou also one of man's disciples? And he said, I am not.
Okay, stop it just a second. Do you think he was trying to protect himself?
Yes.
Against who? A girl? He was scared of a girl?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
And the servants, the officers, stood there, who had made a fire of coals, for it was cold. And they warmed themselves, and Peter stood with them and warmed himself.
Wow.
Come on now.
Interesting. So he's standing there with the servants and the officers and blending in with them. Interesting. So skip down, if you would, to verse 25 to get the rest of this testimony.
And Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. They said therefore unto him, Art not thou also one of his disciples? He denied it and said, I am not.
And continue, verse 26, what happened next?
One of the servants of the high priest, being his kinsman, whose ear Peter cut off, said, Did not I see thee in the garden with him? Peter then denied again. Immediately the cock crew.
I see. Interesting. So, someone who was in the garden saw Peter cut off Malchus's ear, right? Is that right?
That is correct.
So, when something like that happens, you go cut somebody's ear off and then you think someone's going to forget seeing that. No, they don't remember you. He did it. I was there. I saw him take out his sword and chop off his ear. I was right there standing next to him. His ear, it was blood everywhere. And they just go into detail, right? And even though he had an eyewitness, he had just seen him moments before, he still said what?
He said, I am not.
Wow. Thank you. You can go back. Thank you very much for this witness testimony. The plot thickened, so he wasn't just there. He had an eyewitness pointing him out from, this wasn't someone from weeks before. He had just seen him commit a crime. Right? Some people don't forget what you've done. Some people don't forget your past. They won't let you forget it. They're going to keep bringing it up. They're going to keep reminding you. They refuse to believe that you've changed. They refuse to believe that Christ did anything for you, even if you told them, not only am I a Christian, I'm a preacher, or I'm an evangelist, or I'm this, or I'm that. I do this in the church. I'm the secretary. I water the plants in church every week, and they're going to say, right. We know what you used to be. We know who you really are. They don't say used to be. They believe you still are. And there will be times where you don't want to argue with them. Honestly, there will be those moments where you will just, whatever. Because see, here's the thing, he wasn't there to talk to them. He was interested only in one, in Jesus and what was going to happen to him. He was only concerned with it. He didn't want anybody making a big deal about him. He didn't feel like getting stoned because he was with Jesus. It was easier just to say he wasn't than to be persecuted. Then people say, yeah, he should be in the court too. They should arrest him too. Throw him in there with them. You know how we instigate things. Yeah, he's one of them. Get him. Get him. Arrest him. All of them. Get him. Right? Don't think this doesn't happen in this day and age. Don't just read scripture and think it was only what happened then. This is now. You are Peter. You have temptations right in your own family, right in your own neighborhood, right on your job, in your school. You will be tempted to act like you don't know who Jesus is. You may not ever say the words, I don't know him. I am not a Christian. I am not a believer. No, I don't follow Christ. You may never say those words, but your actions speak. They what? Because Jesus said, a tree is known by its fruit. I'm not going to walk up to a tree and see oranges going on and go, oh, look at that apple tree over there. Y'all will think I'm crazy. Nor will you walk into somebody with a suit and tie on that acts like a heathen and I'm supposed to believe he's a Christian? A follower of Christ? The word Christian means what? Like Christ. You should be loving. You should be caring. You should be kind. You should be strong. We forget that Jesus was strong. Jesus is strong. But he was also gentle. He was no nonsense, but he still had a sense of humor because he made me. I'm ready for our final witness, please. Can Luke take the stand? Luke chapter 22, verses 54 through 62. Oh, he come ready. He got the microphone. He had to tell you. I love it when people are ready. Come on, Luke. This is what I'm talking about. This is history. It's not just the past, though. It's also the present. This is your history, too. Put your hands on this book of the law. Do you intend to share the testimony of Luke to the best of your ability without taking anything away or adding anything to it?
Yes.
All right. Take your seat, please. Now, we've heard the testimony of 3 other witnesses. And according to the law, this book of the law says, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be what? Established. So we already got our establishment. We already know who's guilty. We already know. But we just want one more witness just to make sure you understand all the details in case anything was missed. So can you begin to share the testimony of Luke, please? Luke's a physician. I should call you Dr. Luke. He's a physician. Go ahead, Dr. Luke.
Then to David and led him and brought him into the high priest's house. And Peter followed afar off. And when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the hall, and were set down together, Peter sat among them.
Stop for a second. He did what?
He sat among them.
He sat among them. So he wasn't in the corner trying to look and see what happened. He's going to sit and act like he's one of them. Okay, continue. Just establishing my case.
But a certain maid beheld him and sat by the fire, and earnestly looked upon him and said, This man was also with him. And he denied him. And that he denied him, saying, Woman, I know him not. And after a little while, another saw him and said, Thou art one of them. And Peter said, Man, I am not. And about the space of an hour, another confidently affirmed, saying, A truth, this is the fellow also with him, for he is a Galilean.
And what happened next?
And Peter said, Man, I know what thou sayest. And immediately while he yet spake, the cock crew.
While he yet spake, while he was still talking, before he could get his words out good, the cock did his job.
Amen.
So, verse 61 is the part that I want you all to look at. That's the part that stings my heart. Look at verse 61. After all this went down, after all this happened, what happened in verse 61? You got it, Matthew? Because you're looking at me. I'm not a Bible. Come on, Matthew. Luke chapter 22, verse 61 says, And the Lord turned and looked at Peter.
Wow.
Don't think that God doesn't see what you're doing.
That's all.
Don't think that just because he didn't punish you right away, he didn't say anything, no prophetic word came forth, no preacher pointed the finger at you, just because no one called you on it doesn't mean God didn't see it, he doesn't know. It's his mercy that he did not strike us down immediately.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
He turned and looked at him. And then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he said to him before the rooster crows, You will deny me 3 times. Thank you, Dr. Luke. You may take your seat. So if you all look at the very last part of this, verse 62, and it's the same in the other passages, the testimony is the same in each one. It says, Peter went out and wept bitterly. I have a question for all of you. You're the jurors here. You're the jurors. Peter denied Christ just like he said he would. Because Jesus has never lied. It is impossible for God to lie. And sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we think it will never be us. We'll never do that. I'll never do that. You don't know. You don't know. You can't judge that thing. You're not the judge. The judge turned and looked at him. Who art thou, the Bible says, to judge another manservant? You're just a manservant, just like everybody else in the body of Christ. You have no place to judge anybody but yourself. But here's where we're missing it, folks. People nowadays love that verse, don't judge me, judge not. They love that. But they're missing the rest of that context. Judge yourself. So you're going around, walking around without judgment. I'd rather judge myself than let God judge me later. Judge yourself now. Check yourself. I'm wrong. I got no business doing this. I ain't got no business being here. Let me judge myself and get out of here right now. I already know where this is going. I know what I'm about to do. I can feel it. I already know. Let me go on the phone and call somebody. Judge yourself.
That's right.
Amen. But just for the sake of this demonstration, let's judge Peter, shall we? Jurors, did Jesus prophesy to Peter that he would deny him 3 times? And bringing this forth to today, does that mean we may have 3 different types of situations where we will be tempted? Okay? So, are we tempted close up and personal around our family and friends? Okay? Have you ever been tempted around family and friends? Okay, that's one. When you go to work, Are you tempted?
Yeah.
In school?
Yeah.
In your neighborhood? With them nasty neighbors you got sometimes? Are you tempted to do something?
Yeah.
Say something.
Ready to.
That's two. Now if you mess up, you heard that cock crow, your conscience should have kicked in with that first warning, that first time you messed up. Something should have said, this is not me anymore. Something inside of you, the Spirit of the Lord, should have been talking to you, but we don't want to listen. We don't want to listen. Why didn't he notice the first time the cock crew?
Yeah.
Crow, crew. So then we had the third time, that was two.
Yeah.
Family and friends, marketplace, and then sometimes you have stuff that just comes up out of nowhere. You don't know who these people are or where the situation is. Why is this happening to me? I'm minding my own business, the doctor says I have some disease. Why me? I've been serving you all these years, God. And now I gotta bury my fill in the blank. I lose my job after umpteen years. They arrest me and I didn't do anything? Why me? Because that's life. As long as this earth is cursed and until Jesus Christ returns, that's how it is for now. But the power is in those who acknowledge, surrender to, follow after with all their hearts the Lord. Are you going to obey the first commandment or not? That's what it boils down to. Whether or not you love the Lord God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your might. Some of you only love Him with your mind. Yeah, God, you and me. Yeah, you got Him up here. But down in here, as soon as somebody hurts you, you forget all about Jesus. As soon as somebody wrongs you, insults you, annoys you. I've seen people talk to a waitress as if she is trash. Just because she got your order wrong.
Yeah.
Where's the love of God then?
That's awesome.
To your servant.
Yeah.
And you a servant yourself.
Yeah.
You should be showing her kindness. You should be tipping her more than anybody else. You should be saying, take your time, honey, I'm all right. Now, where's my food? But we're out there. And then we get there and we act like we're not believers. We should be the kindest, the sweetest, the strongest, the healthiest, the wisest, the wealthiest, the friendliest. Some of y'all so mean. Oh my Lord God, some of you are mean. Why? Goodness God has been to you. Oh my goodness. You can't smile.
Wow. Very good.
You don't want to bless anybody? You only want to hang around your own people? Sitting around the fire, all cozy with your kinfolk? The ones you like, the ones you go to church with? But everybody else, nobody is good enough to hang around you. Until that cock crows.
Oh, that's it.
Until you get that check in your spirit that you're wrong. When Peter heard that crow,
Wow.
and when Jesus turned and looked at him in his face, I don't have the luxury of Jesus looking at me where I can see him looking at me.
Wow.
It'd be easier, wouldn't it? If Jesus was standing right there and I did something. Oh God, that'd be easy.
Yeah.
This is all about faith. We can't see him. We believe though, he's right here.
You know.
He's not going to force me to do right. And he's not going to stop me from doing wrong. In either way, whether I do right or whether I do wrong, he is with me watching everything I do. I would rather please him. I would rather he smile. I would rather he say, well done.
Amen.
Not half done. Not nearly done.
Yeah.
But well done.
Well done. Awesome. Nice guy.
So let's judge Peter now.
Uh-oh.
And remember what I said. You were Peter. I have a question for you. Why did Peter weep? Because he got caught? Because Jesus was right and he was wrong and wow. No, it didn't say he cried. Because crying is a result of you being in pain.
Yeah.
Weeping is a result of you being brokenhearted. It broke his heart to know that he went against the one that he clearly loved. I've seen people do some amazing things in the name of love, even sin in the name of love. Do you love him? I want to give you one verse to leave you with, and I want you to learn this before I see you again. Can you do that? Yeah? Okay. I want you to turn to John chapter 15. This is your assignment for the week. I can't help you without assignments. I'm a teacher. What are you going to do? I have no apologies. It's who God made me to be. John chapter 15, verses 11 through 17. You can handle those few verses. You can have them learned and memorized. I hear Brother Rick read a passage every week and Sister Mary read a passage every week for us to repeat after them. How many of you have it memorized after all these years? You memorize what matters to you. Amen. There was some cute girl that you see, and you've been noticing her, and you see her often, and you want to talk to her, and she decides to give you her number. You ain't got nothing to write on, you forgot your phone. Are you going to memorize that number? Because it matters to you. You memorize what matters. That is a scientific fact. Just throwing it out there. Are we ready for us to get our assignment? Verse 17 says, "These things I command you, that you love one another. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you." What? I skipped a verse, didn't I? I sure did. Wait, back up. This is a new Bible. Isn't it pretty? I'm supposed to be at verse 11. Y'all supposed to raise your hand and say, let me be in school. My students would have checked me in instantly. Here we go. Verse 11. "These things have I spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full." That's not the verse I want you to know. I'm still going to read it to you. "If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. If. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends. For all things that I heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain. That whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give you." Conditions. "These things I command you, that you love one another." That's the condition. That's why things aren't happening in your life, because you're not loving like you should. But I want you to look at chapter 14. This is the verse I want you to know. This is one of my favorite passages. Verses 23 and 24 of chapter 14. There's so many verses on love. Oh my goodness. Mark that one down. That's still not it. That's not it either. I'm trying to, I should give all of them to you. That's what I should do. And give a test next week. What I want is chapter 14, verse 21. I'm going to read this from the King James this time. It says this: "He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me." I'm going to read that again. "He that hath my commandments," that means you know what to do, "and he keeps them, he's the one who loves me." Not the one who says, "I love the Lord." Not the one who says, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Oh yeah, I believe in God. Oh, I go to church all the time." That's not the one that he's talking about here. The one who loves him is the one who has his commandments, and he actually keeps them. "And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him," and please underline this, "and will manifest myself to him." Manifest. That means to make clear or obvious to the eye or mind. How many of you want God to make himself obvious to you? How many of you want to see God move in your life? How many of you want God to show up, as we say? God's already there, but he's not making himself clear to you always. And he doesn't have to, because he's reserved that right for those who actually love him.
Wow.
Amen.
There are a whole lot of children in the world, but only your kids going to sit on your lap.
Amen.
Am I right?
Amen.
There are a whole lot of fellas out there, fine as wine. But I'm not going to kiss that one back there.
Yeah.
The one I'm married to. You see what I'm saying? God wants your love, but he wants you to give it to him.
Awesome.
Amen.
We're too busy expecting God to do things for us.
Yeah.
We have this ability in us to think, well, if God is God, why doesn't he do this or that for me? If he is God, if that word is really true, then why did this happen to me? If God was really there, why did he allow this to happen? Let me help you understand.
Yeah.
Let me help you understand. Until Jesus Christ returns, could you say that? Until Jesus Christ returns, you will have trouble.
That's right.
You will have trouble.
He is with those who believe him
Amen.
and follow his commands.
That's awesome.
Not just believe. Even the demons believe. The Bible says the demons believe in what? Tremble. They're trembling. I don't want to be like that. I gotta do better than that.
I hear you.
I have an account. This is an account scripture where the demons actually prayed. Remember when Jesus went to Gadara and there was a man that was full of demons?
Yeah. Yeah.
And am I right? Did the demons say, Jesus, please let us go to the pigs? Was that a prayer?
Yeah.
It was a prayer. They're asking Jesus, but hey, don't send us to the pigs. Send us to the pigs. That's a prayer. So if a demon could actually pray, what's wrong with you?
I hear you.
I already prayed.
Yeah.
I prayed and I prayed.
Huh?
Well, Jesus doesn't want you to make vain repetitions, but he does want you to keep praying.
Yeah.
He does want you to keep going. You keep eating, don't you?
Huh? Sure do.
Amen.
Are you satisfied with what you ate yesterday? Will you never eat again? I already eaten. That was sustenance. I have enough. I should be fulfilled with what I already ate.
Huh?
What you think, Jude? You had enough to eat? You'll never have to eat again? What you think? Try him out. Let me ask your dad. Don't let him eat anymore today.
I won't.
See how long it lasts. I'm kidding. Will you please stand? Will I read this again to you? He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest my to him. John 14:21. I want you to have that memorized by next week. Father, we have come into this court and we've heard the testimony, and the testimony is true. That there are times when even the strongest of us, the wisest of us, the ones who know the word backwards and forwards, we still can and will be tempted. But when we look later, we see that Jesus restored him. We thank you for restoration. We thank you for restoration. I want to read to you while you stand the account where Jesus actually restored in John 21. Verse 15 says, so when they had eaten breakfast, this is after Jesus was risen from the dead, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than these? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. How many of y'all say that? Okay, that's one time. He said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him a second time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, tend my sheep. He said to him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, full name, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, do you love me? But remember, he denied him how many times?
3. Exactly.
So Jesus had to help him come back 3 times. So no matter how many times you mess up, always come back because God is ready to restore you, right? He's ready to restore you. So Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. So that means do what I've asked you to do. That's how I know you love me. If you love me, do what I asked you to do. It's simple as that. Don't make excuses. Peter wept. He didn't say, well, nobody's perfect. He didn't say, well, I tried. And he didn't shrug his shoulders and went, I ain't the only one out here messed up.
I did.
He didn't make excuses.
That's right.
He wept bitterly.
Good.
When you can get to a point where your mess-ups break your heart,
Oh, wow.
judge yourself.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
When you can get to that point
Yeah, that point.
where you can do something and you feel it
Yeah, you know.
before somebody checks you, before you stand corrected, before Jesus looks at you.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Good preaching. Wow.
Amen.
Check yourself.
Yeah, God bless you.
I don't need you to tell me what I'm doing wrong, but if I am doing wrong and I don't notice it, yeah, check my blind spot for me. Warn me, yes, bring it to me, because I don't want to stand before God and be in the wrong.
Amen.
I don't want the gavel to come down
Yeah.
and the cock to crow the last time.
Wow.
And that's it.
Help me.
It's a new year, y'all.
I tell you.
Amen.
Some of us need to let go of being mean and rude and ostracizing other people and criticizing other people and show some actual love for a change.
Amen.
I don't mean that mushy-gushy stuff that you hugging everybody and kissing and God bless you and all this little sweet, not necessarily phony, but still. I mean, when they don't act right, treat you right, smell right, I mean still loving them, that kind of love.
I hear you.
Like Jesus did for you.
Thank you.
That's why those people aren't coming in here. They're not feeling the love. They hear you. They hear you. They're not deaf. But it's the love and sharing Jesus for real.
Yeah.
If you love me, obey my commandments. And if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. He don't need your fancy ways and your methods and your programs and your projects. If you just lift him up by how you live, he's going to do the drawing.
Amen.
They're going to see him in you and go, what is that about her? Why is she so? Hi, I see you all the time coming to the post office. I just had to introduce myself. What is your name? You mind if I? What's your name? Oh, you're a pastor. What church you go to? I've been wanting to go to a church. Are there other people like you?
Awesome. Awesome.
You know a tree by its fruit.
That's right.
They're not going to come in here. You can set up a tent outside, hire the best musicians. You can even serve them food. You know that's going to bring them right. But what's going to make them stay is that Christ draws them. And he's not going to do it unless you. When you worship him, you mean it. When you serve him, you mean it. When you read the Bible, you mean it. If you're a believer, you got to act like you mean it.
Amen.
You can't love somebody you don't see. You don't see God. But these are the people he wants you to love. Love them. Love them. I've never seen a loving person, really loving person, be alone for very long.
Wow. Awesome preaching.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Judge yourselves. Judge yourselves.
Yeah.
And let's do better at being better believers.
Yeah.
Bow your heads for a moment, would you? Lord, they're not bowing their heads because of me. Because we're honoring you. We want to remember you for what you did. You did not have to let them beat you. You didn't have to let them torture you. You did not have to let them call you names, spit in your face, things that we would never just let somebody do. But you didn't want anything to happen to us like that. You didn't want us to be punished for our sin. So thank you. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
Lift one hand if you believe God loves you. Lift the other hand if you love him right back.
Amen.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so. And if you believe that, then act like it. Amen? Give the Lord some praise. Let us encourage you, King. Give him some praise because he loves you. Love him right back by how you act. That rhymes on. Love him right back by how you act. Hey! Hallelujah.
Bravo. Bravo. Thank you, Jesus Christ.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Come on, let's give the Lord an extra praise for the Lord allowing Sister Keisha to be used like that. Amen? How many times y'all read them scriptures over and over again, but now you got a better understanding of what they meant by each witness giving their witness. Amen? Amen. God bless you.